Members and friends of the West Point community, in particular Colonel Karen, Colonel Zupan, colleagues in the trenches who teach Philosophy 201, and the nearly 500 cadets now taking this course, good evening to all and welcome. I'm Robert Tully, Professor of Philosophy at the Academy. Our guest speaker tonight, a man of extraordinary accomplishment, is Noam Chomsky, Institute Professor of Linguistics and Philosophy at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. His reputation precedes him here by leaps and bounds. Just 6 months ago, the British Journal of Current Affairs Prospect conducted a poll among its more than 20,000 readers to identify today's leading global public intellectual. In the list of 100 such figures, Professor Chomsky came first, drawing more than twice the votes received by the runner-up, Umberto Eco. In the eyes of this journal, Professor Chomsky belongs to the, as they said, the age of the great oppositional thinker. Opposition has indeed been a consistent feature of Professor Chomsky's public life. Since the 1960s, he has been a determined and acerbic critic of American foreign policy. He has denounced politicians of both parties for hubris and blindness, and condemned American society for tolerating the grip of big business on politics and the pervasive influence of mass media. If he has been given more to condemnation than to praise, that may well be the world's fault, not his. Professor Chomsky has launched his attacks in newspapers, journals, and magazines, on radio and television, and in public forums, pronouncing on the major issues of the day, from Vietnam to Central America, the Middle East, the war on terror, and of course, Iraq. His articles and essays on political topics alone number more than 200. That, at least, is where I gave up counting. In addition, there are his more than 50 books on political matters, beginning in 1969 with American Power and the New Mandarins, and continuing to the present with the recently published Failed States. However, this amazing productivity constitutes only half the picture. Seemingly two people fill the shoes of one Noam Chomsky. His protests and denunciations will eventually recede from public view, but posterity will certainly always remember Noam Chomsky as the single thinker, the non-global, non-public intellectual who once revolutionized the science of linguistics. Chomsky's work in linguistics burst upon the scene in the late 1950s and was steadily consolidated in a vast number of articles and more than 30 books. He gave linguistics a new starting point. Chomsky set out to answer a fundamental question. What makes possible the endowment of human language itself? What lies beneath the enormous variety of spoken languages? He theorized that our familiar languages derive from an underlying universal grammar, a set of operational rules in which native children already possess sufficient skill to enable them unthinkingly to become speakers of their parents' language in just a few years. Whether this underlying grammar is a function of the mind or of the brain,